Douglas, he's got change. What a minute.
We got a dunk party tonight featuring LeBron.
He was on the dance floor and he was dancing. He left his partners somewhere.
Look at Durant putting on a show. Ahead to Butler inside. Get out the way, Taj Gibson.
Rivers explores space. Good idea.
Follow.
Guess who? 27 seconds. It'll be Pierce. And he ties it up.
He is the truth for a reason.
Down the middle and puts the dunk in on McRoberts.
Still hanging out over here on NBATV Canada, talking NBA basketball. Now we got a little bit of a controversy on our hands. The Golden State Warriors, before this season, one of the upstart, hot newcomers to the Western Conference powerhouse, the power group atop the division, or conference I should say. But now, it's a little bit of dissension among the ranks. Of course, Mark Jackson heading towards the end of his tenure as the head coach during, according to his contract, no extension from the ownership. That's one thing to be concerned about. And now we have a little bit of a net scenario. Brian Scalabrine, an assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors, sent to the D-League to get more minutes. I've never heard of this. They sent the coach to the D-League. The assistant coach has been sent down to the D-League. You're a coach, so I want to get your opinion on this. First off, that is something strange I've never heard of. But secondly, can you demote a coach during a season where you're going to the playoffs? And can you bring him back now? Like, is that even possible?
Well, I doubt they're going to bring him back. Obviously, there's some issues there. And, we've seen this earlier. Jason Kidd did it with Lawrence Frank in Brooklyn. I mean, it's tough, right? I mean, you have these very intense relationships all year long. At times, there's friction. He's decided to make a move and send Scalabrine down. It may work. It may not. But in the end, he's got Steph Curry's support, and that's probably the most important thing.
Steph Curry came out, of course, and made some comments publicly supporting his coach, despite the fact that the organization has not done so with the contract. But I know you're a head coach. You deal with assistant coaches all the time. Those guys have plans, goals, dreams of their own philosophy, their own vision. How hard is it to manage those relationships?
Well, I just can't send them to the D-League. That's the
I don't think anyone thought you could.
No. I mean, it's a challenge, right? I mean, it's a challenge. It's people. It's players. It's coaches. It's all the same thing. It's relationships, and for us, we don't have those options, so we got to figure it out. And for Mark Jackson, he had that option and he used it. Now it's a little bit of a gamble. It could come back to bite him.
All right, now we got to jump from the Warriors to the Toronto Raptors. Of course, the Raptors beat the Celtics 99-90, but there are a couple of concerns for these Toronto Raptors. I'll start with Patrick Patterson. I guess he's where I'll start with my thoughts on the Toronto Raptors. They're missing him off the bench tremendously. Donovan, I'll start with you. The Toronto Raptors bench needs some extra punch. Why has Patrick Patterson been able to be that guy? What about his game has lent so well to this group?
Well, I think, the Raptors starting five doesn't always come out of the gate the best, but I think their depth compared to some of the other teams in the East is what pushes them through. So when you take a notch away from that depth, that hurts. But also, you know this as a coach, when you look down your bench, you want to know what you're going to get from a guy. And Patrick Patterson, for me, exemplifies that. He's going to work hard, set good screens. The effort's not going to be an issue night in, night out. So I think that's what you lose, that dependability.
That stretch shooting, too, definitely. The Toronto Raptors last night, 51-7 was the bench scoring. So that was not a good look for them. Dan, for you, and actually I got to send a shout out to Mr. 2K Possible who sent us this question, but did you notice it right away? Was there something people weren't providing on the Raptors bench, or is it just he has the tool set that they can plug in?
Well, I believe their record is 6-5 without Patterson.
Yes.
So that tells you right there that he has a great impact off the bench. I think what Coach Casey has been looking for on a nightly basis is at least one or two guys to provide something. Offensively, they need more than the 7 points, but Vasquez has been providing offense the last, 5, 6, or 7 games. But if you look at somebody like Chuck Hayes, I don't even know if he scored a point last night, but he got 6 rebounds. He had 3 blocked shots. So as long as somebody is contributing in some sort of way going down the stretch here before Patterson comes back, I think really that's all they can ask for at this point.
I'll just say this. I think the one thing that Casey's been able to do with these guys is they arguably might be the hardest playing team in the NBA.
Yes.
And if you're going to play that way, you've got to have depth. So they're going to need every single body down the stretch in order to be able to continue this style of play. And if they can get it done in the playoffs, if they can continue to be one of the hardest working teams and hardest playing teams in the league, they got a chance to win a couple of rounds.
Another thing they really got to sort out are these starts. I mean, they're a good team, but they are having to fight back from some big deficits.
Better in Boston last night.
Yes, that's true. So it's now time for us to send some love, the parting shot. This week's parting shot, I want to send out some love to the people doing it for us. There's a lot of people out there in the community doing things in the basketball community that we need to recognize. So I want to send a shout out to my boys out in Montreal, the Hoops Lounge. I want to send a shout out to my boys in Toronto, Below the Hardwood. I want to send a shout out to my boys in Halifax, Hoop Heads North, the Hip Hoop Junkies. Everybody out there doing it big, and of course, a huge shout out to the On Point basketball team, now a member of the NBATV Canada team. So you can catch my man Drew, Jay, and their whole crew working on great college stories, great high school stories, great Canadian stories, and they are on NBATV Canada. Check out your local listings for more. That's it for the whole crew here. This has been The Hangout.